is time. It is time to brew your best beer.
Oh, Bailey, did you hear that? Did you hear that? I heard a voice. I heard a voice saying, like the voice of God, it's time to brew your best beer. I don't know if it was the voice of God. It had a Western Pennsylvania accent. Although that certainly would explain why the Browns have sucked for so many years. Yeah, I better not take a chance, Bailey. We're going to go brew our best beer. Come on. Okay, it's brew day today. Brewing my SJ Porr Challenge beer. What I've let out so far is it's something along a Belgian line. I've got all the grain milled. You can see here and here, 14.5 pounds this time. Should be good. And all the parts stayed on the mill. There's none to be fished out of the grain like there was last time. And the strike water is heating on the stove. If you pay attention to earlier videos, you'll know that the boil pot, my kettle here, did not have a spigot on it before. That was a late addition yesterday. That was kind of a risk on my part, drilling a hole in my only boil pot to put the spigot in, but it went uneventfully, and it's not leaking, and it should make the brew day today, given the volumes of water I got to deal with, quite a bit easier. So water will get up to temp and we'll dough in. So we're all doughed in, 14.5 pounds of grain in a little bit under 5 gallons of hot water. My target mash temperature is 150 degrees. And apparently the gods are smiling on me, because if you can see that, the mash temperature is 151. By the time I get to the end, it might be 149, so I'm doing pretty good. And no drooling out of the valve, so I'm pretty happy. So we'll see you in about an hour. So 20 minutes into the mash, we're right at my target temperature of 150. Again, probably we'll see 149 before it's over. And the yeast is looking like it's ready to go. So things are coming along nicely. So now, after 60-minute mash, ending temperature at 149 as predicted, doing the Vorloff. And the wort is looking nice and dark and rich. So we'll see it clears up, and then start draining it into the boil kettle. And here's the first runnings, looking good. So now we're batch sparging. I'll let this sit for a few minutes, and then Vorloff again, and wort is still looking nice. So we've reached the end of our batch sparge. We've collected all the second runnings. There we've got the dry grain compacted down on the bottom of the mash tun. And down here we've got a nice pot full of nice looking wort. Waiting for wort to boil is almost as much fun as waiting for water to boil, except it tastes better. So now we've gotten to a nice rolling boil. Hot break is being reabsorbed, and we're ready here now for the 60-minute hop addition. So here we go. Okay, I didn't capture the very end of the boil because it got really windy out here, and between the wind and the roar of the propane flame, we wouldn't have had any audio. Probably people would have been thankful for that. But anyway, we went to flame out. We put in our last hop additions at 10 minutes in, with the boil left, and now we're cooling. And as soon as we get to pitching temperature, we'll be back inside and aerate the wort and pitch the yeast. Now we're draining the wort from the kettle into the carboy for fermentation. Got to the temperature I needed it to be. But you know, the wort is looking awful dark. Gee, I hope I didn't burn it or anything. I never seen a Belgian that dark. I'm confused. Alright, you probably won't be able to read that. I know I can't without a magnifying glass, being the old fart that I am. But my gravity reading is 1.074. My target was 1.072, so I'm going to claim victory on this. So we're aerating the wort. I've got about 5 3/4 gallons, which is right about what I expected. Using the aquarium pump to do the aeration stone to do the aeration. So we're going to let that go, and then we'll pitch the yeast, which, since I don't have 3 hands, I probably won't show you. You know what yeast going into a carboy looks like anyway. And there's the beer down in the basement, about to be entombed into the ferment temp 5000. Okay, so that's the brew day for the SJ Porr beer. Overall, I was pretty pleased with the brew day. I hit all of my numbers. I made a tongue-in-cheek comment in the video about the wort being a little bit dark. I was worried I burned it. I actually was shooting for dark. Actually, my brewing software told me it would be closer to black than it actually was. Color's not important, but I did hit the numbers, and it did taste pretty good. It started off fermenting pretty well. It is in the ferment temp 6000. The ferment temp 5000, the heating pad did pretty good at keeping the temperature up in the boxes with an empty carboy. But when I put the full carboy in, it was struggling to maintain 73 degrees. I wanted to be at 75. So I took the heating pad out and replaced it with an old hairdryer on the lowest setting. And it has been purring along nicely, right at 75 degrees, which is what I wanted. So that's working out pretty well. This is the cider that I kegged in my last video. It is, I don't know if you can see, but it is crystal clear. And I've always had luck with ciders coming out very clear. And it's got a great flavor. So again, shout out to Brewmaster Ben for showing the video of his experiment with the different cider yeasts. Definitely the ale cider, the ale yeast in making cider produced some better results for me in this time around. So with that, I'm going to probably take a break from brewing for a couple of weeks. I've got a 3-tap kegerator. As soon as I keg the Surly Bender, which will be this weekend, all taps will be pretty much full kegs. The cider, the John Palmer 11's variation, and the Surly Bender. Then I've got whatever I'm not going to bottle from the SJ Porr beer. So I've got enough beer on tap and on deck. I am going to start playing around with some equipment. I've got pumps to deal with. I'm going to change out at least 2 of my tap faucets to Perlick faucets, something I wanted to do for a while. I went cheap when I went original. Now I want to change those out. And you know, some other projects, trying to get moving brewery out of the kitchen into the garage and setting that up. So until next week, cheers and a happy Homebrew Wednesday.